Hey guys, it's Justine. Welcome to a new video. I am filming all week in the same outfit, so don't mind me. All right, so I wanted to talk to you today about how I use die cut bundles. So first of all, let's get real here. The fires in Australia are awful, and I'm so happy to hear that there's some relief coming with some rain in the next little while. But I don't even think like anybody can actually fathom how devastating this has been to the planet, to wildlife, to people, and who have lost their homes and their possessions. And you know, it's really sad, and I'm so happy to see that there's so many craft companies out there offering some donations or relief for Australia. All right, so scrapbook.com has been super generous, and they have a digital cut file for Australia to raise some money. It's $5, it's digital, so anybody with a digital machine like a Cricut, Brother Scan and Cut, so like Cameo, anything where you can download an SVG file and put it in, this is for you. So what I like about this digital pack is that there are things pertaining to Australia in it, like koalas, and you know, it's a small world, and it has like the Australian continent outlined for the O, and that's really cute and stuff. But when it really comes down to it, I want to donate my money, and I'm getting something in return, and I want to be able to use that as well. And so what I love about this bundle is it comes with things like prayers, butterflies, flowers, all sorts of things that I'll use every day in my craft room, and not Australian themed, you could say. So all the money is going to, 100% of the proceeds are going to the Australian Red Cross to help in the devastating fires. I can't even talk about it, like I get emotional thinking of these koalas and I can't even deal with it. So yeah, I'm super excited to show you some of the cards that I'm going to be creating using this digital cut file. I can't wait to show you what I'm creating today, and let's get started. So when you go into Cricut Design Space, you're going to click here on the left side under Upload, and then you can click on this button here, and you're able to then select the files from your computer to import into your library. You could add tags and your own title if you like, so that you can make it really easily searchable afterwards. And then you just import it into your library, and it's always there under the Upload button or in your images based on the tags that you inputted. Now you can have a quick look at all of the files that are available in this little bundle here. There's some really great sentiments, some cute koalas, and some great floral and butterfly images that you can use for really any project. So these are a lot of fun, and I can't wait to create with them. I've used most of the images in my cards. Now when you import them into Design Space, you just need to resize them to be appropriate for cards. So always keep in mind your card dimensions, like 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And you don't really want too many to exceed that. Now with the flowers, I'm not sure if it was my paper or my Cricut machine itself. I did find that working with a larger size was a lot easier because they were so detailed. They just worked out. I ended up blowing them up quite a bit, almost like a scrapbook size, and then only using partial areas of the flower. In the end, I only ended up cutting them out in white and black, and then I added my own ink colors to them to make them colorful. I just found that the most easiest, rather than inserting all the different colors of cardstock as I went along. It's working. So let's get into the actual cards that I made for today. So I made a total of 5 cards using the different images from the design bundle, and I hope you're inspired to create some of your own. I ended up going with a scrapbook.com domed blending tool, and I'm going to use the same 3 colors for all the projects: Limoncello, Tiki Torch, and Samba from Catherine Pooler. I'm using the domed sponge tool here to do an ink blend over top. And as I started ink blending, I decided I wanted to add sort of like a mountain range at the bottom. So I grabbed some Inkadinkado masking paper, and I just tore it with my fingers, making sure one of the areas kind of went up and then back down, so it looked a bit like a mountain. And I used that to mask off an area of my white cardstock. I'm working on Neenah Solar White cardstock in 4 by 5 1/4 inches. So for time purposes, I'm just going to speed you up a little bit here, going in with the next 2 colors, going from the lightest to the darkest color. Sometimes I go back and forth between the colors just to ensure that the blend is quite smooth. I always find that this helps a lot. Then I'm going to go ahead and remove the Inkadinkado masking paper, and you can see I have this really stunning white space. against the colorful background. I then went ahead and I added the white koala to the top here. I'm going to adhere that down later. And I grabbed the It's a Small World with the O replaces the Australian continent there. And I decided to add in the similar colors with my blending tool. And I'm being very careful. I'm pouncing over top rather than ink blending because I don't want this delicate dye to get damaged in any way. Using some Nuvo liquid adhesive, I adhered these die cut pieces down, and then I also grabbed some of the pieces off of the mat here that I also ink blended, like the center of the Australian continent for O as the heart, and the center of the D and the R and the two A's, and just added those in so it was really easy to read that It's a Small World. I found that leaving those out, it wasn't the easiest sentiment to then go ahead and read. Then I added the white koala on the top just to really accentuate that white space once again and that contrast, and I think this looks really great. Here's a look at that card after I added it to a card base. It's so cute and fun. I then went ahead and grabbed this flower. Now this flower, I believe I created it at about 10 inches long, the height. It's a really great size for scrapbooking, so that's what I love about digital die cuts is that you can go ahead and for very little money, like $5 for this whole bundle, I can have any size that I really want versus buying an actual metal die set and then you're restricted to one simple size and that's it. And they're obviously a lot more expensive. So I went in and pounced again with my ink pad over top, and I'm going to only be using a certain portion of this image. Obviously this isn't all going to fit on my card, but who said you needed to include the whole die cut? When I was all finished ink blending, I went ahead and added my Nuvo liquid adhesive to various areas to make sure this die cut was nice and glued down. Then I grabbed my scissors and I went along the edge and just cut off any of the excess areas that didn't need to be there. And you can see that this flower looks like it was just made for this card front. I went ahead and added the hugs die cut. As I said, I cut them all out of white just for time purposes, and I just added in the colors as I needed them and as I felt fit. I felt a lot freer when doing this as well, and you can see how that beautiful black contrasts against the white background and the floral image. For my next card, I went ahead and blended a background, and I had done this at the beginning of the video, just minus the mountain range, so I decided to not show that on camera to save some time. I cut this other really large flower. Again, I cut this one to be quite large, again scrapbook size, and I thought I would just use a portion of it. So I glued it down here, and I really wish I had placed my sentiment before I glued it down because I think it looked a little bit funny. I would have preferred to have my sentiment in the bottom right-hand corner, but because it would only fit in the top right-hand corner, I had to kind of do it that way. Now I went ahead and I secured the hope sentiment there to the top right, and actually I like the way that it turned out. When I added the card base, it really made a big difference. Now going into my next card, I'm doing something very similar to the second card. I'm just adding some color to the butterfly. I decided to use this butterfly here, unfortunately because the details were so intricate on the antennas, and I only own Neenah Solar White Cardstock for white cardstock, so I'm pretty sure it was more my cardstock rather than the cut file or my Cricut Maker itself. The antennas kind of ripped off, which is okay. I'm going to actually go in with a marker later. So I decided to add some interest here by using my sparkle pen from scrapbook.com. I went ahead and added that to the front of a 4x5¼ inch panel, and I also went ahead and grabbed the hugs sentiment that is also part of the cut file. I dyed it black, you could say, and added that. I thought that looked really cool, but I decided to go in with a black pen and add the antenna for the butterflies as well, and that ended up creating like a really good contrast between the black sentiment and then adding the black of the antennas. I think it really just made a huge difference when that was all finished. Now here is a close-up of that one there. I really wish the sparkle was shown on screen. It looks so stunning. So next I'm grabbing that Inkadinkado masking paper once again. I cut myself a couple of little strips. My strip on the left here didn't have to be too wide because it just needed to cover a small portion of the left side of my cardstock. The one I'm doing on the right is a little bit thicker because I don't want to accidentally go off with my blending tool in an area where I shouldn't. I'm going to be using the same 3 colors to blend up the panel here, and I'm only blending within this little rectangular shape that I've created. All right, so when I removed the mask, it created this beautiful rectangle here. And I'm gonna go ahead and add in the flower. Now this is where I knew that the delicateness and the intricacy of the design itself had nothing to do with my Cricut or the design not being able to cut it out. It was definitely my white cardstock. So I don't really recommend Neenah Solar white cardstock for your die cuts with a Cricut machine. Try other brands. I don't have anything, so I'm really hoping I can try some others. Because I used some black cardstock here and it cut just fine. You can see how intricate this flower is and it cut out no problem at 5 inches tall. Now I didn't add any sentiment whatsoever to this. I kind of like to make cards now and again without a sentiment so that when I need a card in a hurry, I can simply stamp the sentiment I need and then be on my merry way. So the card's pretty much finished, it just needs a sentiment and it's good to go. Do you do that? All right, so here is a recap of the 5 cards I created with this $5 digital bundle. I think they're all beautiful in their own way. They were all easy, quick to make, pretty easy tool-wise as well. I mean, aside from the Cricut, which I know not everybody has, it was just some inks and a blending tool and some masking paper really in the end. And I hope you'll consider donating the $5 to scrapbook.com so they can pass it on to the Australian Red Cross. I really appreciate it. And thanks so much for watching, everyone, my videos. I totally appreciate it. I'll be back all week with some new videos, and I can't wait to show you. Bye for now.